Hello, everyone. I'm Natasha, your host for today. If you are new here, I'd like to tell you that we upload English learning videos regularly on this channel to help you take your English to the next level, faster. In today's episode, you are not only going to improve your listening skills, but also sharpen your advanced vocabulary and overall fluency. Today's lesson is a complete C1 Advanced Vocabulary Masterclass. We will go through powerful and precise words, daily life examples, and natural expressions that will help you boost your vocabulary, sound fluent, and confidently reach the C1 level in English. Whether you are speaking at work, studying at university, or simply chatting with friends, advanced vocabulary gives you the power to express yourself more clearly, more persuasively, and more naturally. By the end of this video, you will understand how to use advanced words in real situations. And you'll also practice with me, so you can start using them immediately in your daily conversations. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon if you'd like more English learning episodes like this. So, grab a pen and paper. Let's get started. Hello again, my friends. Now that we're ready to dive in, let's begin building your C1 advanced vocabulary step by step. To reach this level, you need words that not only sound advanced, but are also practical. Words that you can actually use in everyday life conversations, in your studies, and in professional situations. Today, I will help you not only learn these words, but also practice the M with me, so that they stay in your memory and naturally become part of the way you speak. Let's begin with a simple thought. At the C1 level, you don't just want to say things in a basic way. Instead of saying, I'm happy, you might say, I'm delighted. Instead of saying, it's very big, you might say, it's enormous. These words make your English richer, clearer, and more expressive. But advanced vocabulary is not only about replacing one word with a fancier one, it's about choosing the most accurate word for the situation, the word that expresses your idea perfectly. So let's take an example. Imagine you had a long day at work, and a friend asks you, "How are you feeling?" A beginner might say, "I'm tired." But at a C1 level, you can say, "I'm exhausted," or even, "I'm drained." If you want to show that your energy has completely disappeared, notice how these words paint a stronger picture of your feeling. Practice with me now. Repeat after me slowly. I'm exhausted. I'm drained. I'm worn out. Good. Can you hear how much more powerful these sound compared to just saying tired? Now let's practice with daily life situations. Picture yourself walking home after carrying heavy groceries. You say, I feel exhausted. Repeat that with me. I feel exhausted. Next, imagine you stayed up all night studying or watching movies. You wake up and say, I'm completely drained. Repeat after me. I'm completely drained. These exercises are not just about words, but about building the habit of using them naturally in your own life. Another great area to expand your C1 vocabulary is emotions. In daily conversations, people often say, I'm sad, or I'm angry. But at an advanced level, you can say, I'm devastated, to express deep sadness, or I'm frustrated, to show annoyance mixed with disappointment, or I'm furious, to show strong anger. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I'm devastated. I'm frustrated. I'm furious. Excellent. Now imagine this scenario. You didn't pass an important exam even though you studied hard. You could say, I'm devastated. Practice it with me. I'm devastated. Next, your computer stops working right before an important presentation. You could say, I'm frustrated. Say it now. I'm frustrated. Finally, someone cut in front of you in a long line at the bank. You could say, I'm furious. Repeat that with me. I'm furious. With these words, you sound more precise and more natural, which is exactly what a C1 speaker does. Here's another practice activity for you. I'll give you a simple word, and I want you to try to replace it with a stronger, more advanced word. Ready? The word is happy. What advanced word could you use? Yes, you could say joyful, or thrilled, or ecstatic. Now, let's practice in sentences. Repeat with me. I'm thrilled to see you. She was ecstatic about her new job. They were joyful after hearing the good news. Excellent. Now let's flip the activity. I'll give you the advanced word, and you try to say the simpler version in your head. For example, if I say enormous, you think very big. If I say furious, you think very angry. If I say delighted, you think very happy. This back and forth practice strengthens your ability to connect words and helps you recall them quickly when you need them in conversation. At the C1 level, you also want to learn words that describe subtle differences. For example, interesting is a common word, but you could say fascinating for something that truly captures your attention, or intriguing when something makes you curious, but also a little puzzled. Let's practice these together. Repeat after me. That movie was fascinating. This book is intriguing. Good. Can you feel the difference in meaning? Imagine you're reading a mystery novel, and the plot keeps surprising you. You say, the story is intriguing. Repeat after me. The story is intriguing. Or imagine you're visiting a museum and seeing a painting that you can't stop looking at. You say, the painting is fascinating. Repeat after me. The painting is fascinating. These words show that you have moved beyond basic vocabulary and are capable of adding depth to your expression. At the advanced level, vocabulary also helps you describe situations in a more detailed and accurate way. Let's take the word important. Many learners use it all the time, but in C1 English, you can choose from many precise alternatives. You could say crucial when something is absolutely necessary, significant when something has an impact, or vital when something is essential to survival or success. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. This meeting is crucial. Her research is significant. Water is vital for life. Excellent. Now imagine you're at work and your boss asks why a deadline cannot be missed. You could say, it is crucial that we finish this project on time. Repeat that with me. It is crucial that we finish this project on time. Next, imagine you are explaining history. You might say, this was a significant moment in the country's development. Practice that. This was a significant moment in the country's development. Finally, if you're teaching children, you could say, healthy food is vital for your growth. Repeat it now. Healthy food is vital for your growth. See how these words help you be clearer and more precise? Another area where advanced vocabulary shines is when we talk about change. At the basic level, we say change all the time. But at the advanced level, you might say transform when something changes completely, or evolve when something changes slowly over time, or adapt when something changes to suit a new situation. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. Technology has transformed our lives. The language continues to evolve. We must adapt to new environments. Very good. Let's try to place these words in daily life. Imagine you buy a new phone, and it makes your daily routine much easier. You could say, "This phone has transformed the way I work." Repeat it. This phone has transformed the way I work. Or imagine your English is improving gradually. You can say, "My English is evolving every day." Repeat after me. My English is evolving every day. And if you move to a new country, you might say, "I need to adapt to the culture here." Practice that now. I need to adapt to the culture here. At C1, vocabulary is also about nuance. For example, let's compare the words look, stare, and glance. At a basic level, you might say look. But stare means to look for a long time, often intensely. Glance means to look quickly. Let's try these. Repeat after me. He stared at the painting for hours. She glanced at her phone and smiled. They looked out of the window together. Good. Now try to imagine these scenes. You are in a park and you see a child staring at the ducks in the pond. Repeat this with me. The child stared at the ducks in the pond. Then imagine yourself checking the time quickly before leaving the house. I glanced at the clock. Repeat it now. I glanced at the clock. Finally, imagine sitting in a cafe, looking out at the street while sipping your coffee. I looked out at the street. Say it with me. I looked out at the street. Practicing these distinctions makes your English much more vivid and expressive. Let's also explore some advanced connectors. At a basic level, we use because to give reasons. But at the C1 level, you can say due to, owing to, or as a result of. Let's practice together. The flight was delayed due to bad weather. Repeat it with me. The flight was delayed due to bad weather. Owing to her hard work, she passed the exam. Say it now. Owing to her hard work, she passed the exam. As a result of the accident, the road was closed. Repeat after me. As a result of the accident, the road was closed. Now imagine these situations. You were late because of traffic. Instead of saying, "I was late because of traffic," you say, "I was late due to heavy traffic." Practice it with me. I was late due to heavy traffic. Or you explain why a team won. Owing to their preparation, the team won easily. Repeat it now. Owing to their preparation, the team won easily. These connectors give your English a more academic and professional sound, which is very useful at C1 level. Another area where learners benefit from advanced vocabulary is describing people's behavior. For example, instead of saying someone is nice, you could say they are considerate. Instead of mean, you might say spiteful. Instead of lazy, you could say idle or sluggish. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. She is very considerate of others. He was spiteful after losing the game. I felt sluggish after eating too much food. Great job. Imagine your friend always thinks about others before themselves. You could say, "She is very considerate of others." Repeat that with me. She is very considerate of others. Or imagine someone deliberately saying hurtful words. He was spiteful when he made that comment. Practice that now. He was spiteful when he made that comment. Finally, after a big holiday meal, you might say, I felt sluggish after eating so much food. Say it with me. I felt sluggish after eating so much food. These words not only describe actions, but also carry emotion and detail, making your English sound more advanced. At this stage, I want you to think about how advanced vocabulary also allows you to describe time more accurately. At a basic level, we say soon, later, or a long time. But at C1, you can enrich your expression by saying imminent for something about to happen very soon, forthcoming for something expected, and prolonged for something lasting longer than expected. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. The storm is imminent. We had a forthcoming meeting. The illness caused a prolonged absence. Good. Now imagine you're waiting for an important phone call. Instead of saying, the call is coming soon, you could say, the call is imminent. Practice that with me. The call is imminent. Next, imagine your teacher telling you about an exam. Instead of saying, the exam is coming, you could say, the exam is forthcoming. Repeat it. The exam is forthcoming. Finally, think about a long winter. Instead of saying, the winter was very long, you could say, it was a prolonged winter. Repeat after me. It was a prolonged winter. These words add subtlety and make you sound more professional. Another way to boost your vocabulary is to talk about success and failure in a more advanced way. Instead of only saying success, you could use achievement or accomplishment. Instead of failure, you could say setback or downfall, depending on the situation. Let's practice together. Winning the award was her greatest achievement. Repeat it now. Winning the award was her greatest achievement. Finishing the marathon was a huge accomplishment. Say it with me. Finishing the marathon was a huge accomplishment. The team faced a major setback during the project. Repeat after me. The team faced a major setback during the project. Good. Now imagine you pass a difficult exam after months of study. You might proudly say, "This is my greatest accomplishment." Repeat it with me. This is my greatest accomplishment. Or imagine you planned something carefully, but things went wrong. You might say, "We experienced a setback, but we will try again." Practice it. We experienced a setback, but we will try again. And if a company loses its power or reputation, you might hear, "The company's downfall came after years of poor management." Repeat it with me. The company's downfall came after years of poor management. By using these advanced words, you show both precision and confidence. Let's explore another group of words, describing movement. At a basic level, we use walk, run, or move. But at the advanced level, you might say stroll when walking slowly and relaxed, or dash when running quickly for a short distance, or wander when walking without a clear purpose. Let's practice them together. Repeat after me. They strolled along the beach at sunset. He dashed to catch the bus. She wandered through the old streets. Excellent. Picture yourself on vacation, walking by the sea. You could say, "We strolled along the beach." Repeat after me. We strolled along the beach. Or imagine you're late for work and rushing. You might say, "I dashed into the office." Say it with me. I dashed into the office. Finally, imagine you're in a new city, exploring without a map. You could say, "I wandered around the city center." Practice that now. I wandered around the city center. These words give much more detail and atmosphere than just walk or run. Another important set of advanced vocabulary is for giving opinions. At the basic level, people often say, I think. But at C1, you can also use I believe, I suppose, I assume, or I reckon in informal settings. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I believe this is the best solution. I suppose we could try a different method. Now imagine a meeting at work. Instead of saying, I think this will work, you might say, I believe this is the best solution. Practice it. I believe this is the best solution. Or in a conversation with friends, instead of, I think he's coming, you could say, I suppose he's coming later. Repeat after me. I suppose he's coming later. And if you're making a guess, you might say, I reckon it's going to rain. Practice that now. I reckon it's going to rain. Using these alternatives makes your English sound flexible and natural. At C1, it is also useful to describe possibilities with more precision. At the basic level, you might say, it's possible. But at the advanced level, you could say, it's likely, it's improbable, or it's inevitable. Let's practice them in sentences. It's likely that she will win the competition. Repeat after me. It's likely that she will win the competition. It's improbable that they will arrive on time with this traffic. Say it with me. It's improbable that they will arrive on time with this traffic. It's inevitable that technology will continue to develop. Repeat it now. It's inevitable that technology will continue to develop. Excellent. Now imagine you are giving advice to a friend about a job application. You could say, it's likely you will get the job because you are very qualified. Repeat that with me. It's likely you will get the job because you are very qualified. Or imagine you're waiting for someone who is late. You might say, it's improbable that he will arrive on time now. Practice it. It's improbable that he will arrive on time now. Finally, if you're discussing the future, you might say, it's inevitable that we will face challenges. Say it with me. It's inevitable that we will face challenges. These words help you express degrees of certainty and sound much more advanced. Now, let's work on VC. Vocabulary for describing communication. At the basic level, people use say or tell. But at the advanced level, you can use words like declare, announce, confess, or reveal, each carrying a slightly different meaning. Let's practice these together. Repeat after me. The president declared a new policy. The teacher announced the results. He confessed to making a mistake. She revealed her secret to her best friend. Excellent. Imagine a work situation. Your manager shares good news with the team. Instead of saying, she told us the good news, you could say, she announced the good news. Repeat after me. She announced the good news. Or picture someone finally admitting they were wrong. Instead of, he said he was wrong, you could say, he confessed his mistake. Say it with me. He confessed his mistake. These subtle changes make your English richer and give your speech the kind of accuracy C1 learners need. Another useful area is describing sounds. Beginners might say loud or quiet, but at C1 you can say deafening when something is extremely loud, faint when something is very soft, and echoing when a sound bounces off surfaces. Practice with me. Repeat after me. The music was deafening. I heard a faint whisper. Her voice was echoing through the hall. Very good. Now imagine you are at a concert and the speakers are very powerful. Instead of saying, "The music was very loud," you could say, "The music was deafening." Repeat it. "The music was deafening." Or imagine someone speaking so softly you can hardly hear. "I heard a faint whisper." Repeat after me. "I heard a faint whisper." And if you're in a big empty building, you might say, "My footsteps were echoing in the hallway." Practice that now. My footsteps were echoing in the hallway. Can you see how these words create clearer pictures in the listener's mind? Let's now focus on vocabulary connected to thinking and learning. At a basic level, people use think, know, and learn. At the advanced level, you might use analyze when you carefully study something, comprehend when you fully understand, and acquire when you gain new knowledge or skills. Let's practice them in sentences. Repeat after me. We need to analyze the data carefully. I finally comprehended the meaning of the story. Children acquire language naturally. Excellent. Imagine a school project. Instead of saying, "We studied the data," you could say, "We analyzed the data." Practice that. We analyzed the data. Or, after reading a difficult article, you might proudly say, "I comprehended the article at last." Say it with me. I comprehended the article at last. And if you're talking about how people learn, you could say, "He acquired new skills after months of training." Repeat it. He acquired new skills after months of training. By using these verbs, you not only sound advanced, but also very precise. Now, let's practice vocabulary for describing the weather, a very common topic in daily conversation. Beginners often say, "It's hot," or "It's cold." But at C1, you could say scorching for very hot, freezing for very cold, and breezy when there is a light wind. Practice with me. It's scorching outside today. The water is freezing in winter. It's breezy on the beach this morning. Excellent. Picture this. You step outside in the summer and the sun feels very strong. Instead of saying, "It's very hot," you say, "It's scorching outside." Repeat it with me. It's scorching outside. Or imagine touching ice water. Instead of "It's very cold," you say, "It's freezing." Repeat after me. It's freezing. And if you're walking along the seaside with a light wind, you could say, "It's breezy today at the beach." Practice that now. It's breezy today at the beach. These descriptive words make your small talk about the weather more natural and engaging. Another group of advanced vocabulary comes when describing decisions. At a basic level, you might say choice or decide. But at C1, you could use determine, resolve, or settle on. Let's practice them in sentences. Repeat after me. They determined to continue their journey. She resolved to study harder this year. We finally settled on a plan. Very good. Now imagine a family deciding where to go for dinner. Instead of saying, "We chose the restaurant," you might say, "We settled on a restaurant after much discussion." Repeat it. We settled on a restaurant after much discussion. Or imagine someone promising themselves they will change. She resolved to be more patient. Say it with me. She resolved to be more patient. These advanced alternatives add sophistication to your daily expressions. Now let's move into vocabulary for describing feelings of surprise and excitement. At the basic level, people say surprised or shocked, but at C1, you can use words like astonished, amazed, and startled. Let's practice them together. Repeat after me. I was astonished by her progress. They were amazed by the view. He was startled by the sudden noise. Excellent. Now imagine visiting a friend who has improved their English very quickly. Instead of saying, I was surprised by her progress, you could say, I was astonished by her progress. Repeat after me. I was astonished by her progress. Or imagine traveling to the mountains and seeing a beautiful view. We were amazed by the scenery. Practice it now. We were amazed by the scenery. Finally, picture yourself hearing a loud sound at night. You might say, I was startled by the sudden noise. Repeat it with me. I was startled by the sudden noise. These words help you sound more expressive and advanced when talking about emotions. Another useful set of vocabulary is for describing food, because food is something we all talk about. At the basic level, we use tasty or delicious, but at the advanced level, you can say scrumptious, mouth-watering, or appetizing. Let's practice in sentences. The cake was scrumptious. Repeat with me. The cake was scrumptious. The aroma of the pizza was mouth-watering. Say it now. The aroma of the pizza was mouth-watering. The salad looked appetizing. Repeat after me. The salad looked appetizing. Now imagine being at a birthday party and eating a chocolate cake. Instead of saying, it was very tasty, you could say, the cake was scrumptious. Repeat it. The cake was scrumptious. Or imagine walking past a bakery and smelling fresh bread. You might say, the bread smelled mouth-watering. Practice it. The bread smelled mouth-watering. And if you see a colorful plate of food, you can say, the dish looked appetizing. Repeat it with me. The dish looked appetizing. Using these words makes your daily conversations about food sound much more vivid. Let's now practice vocabulary for describing speed. At the basic level, you say fast or slow. But at C1, you could say rapid for very fast, swift for quick and smooth, and sluggish for very slow or without energy. Let's practice together. The progress was rapid. Repeat after me. The progress was rapid. The response was swift. Say it with me. The response was swift. I felt sluggish after the long flight. Repeat it now. I felt sluggish after the long flight. Imagine you're working on a project and finishing quickly. You might say, the progress was rapid. Repeat after me. The progress was rapid. Or imagine getting an immediate reply to your message. You could say, the response was swift. Practice it. The response was swift. And if you are very tired after a long journey, you may say, I felt sluggish all day after the flight. Say it with me. I felt sluggish all day after the flight. These words give you more precision in your daily communication. Another powerful area of advanced vocabulary is describing intelligence and creativity. At the basic level, we say smart or clever, but at C1, you can say brilliant, ingenious, or resourceful. Let's try them in sentences. She is a brilliant scientist. Repeat with me. She is a brilliant scientist. His solution to the problem was ingenious. Say it now. His solution to the problem was ingenious. They were resourceful during the crisis. Repeat after me. They were resourceful during the crisis. Now picture a student who always performs at the top of the class. You might say, "She is brilliant in her studies." Repeat it with me. She is brilliant in her studies. Or imagine someone fixing a broken machine with a very creative idea. His idea was ingenious. Say it now. His idea was ingenious. And if a group of people survives a difficult situation by finding clever solutions, you might say, they were resourceful. Practice that. They were resourceful. These words will make you sound much more advanced when complimenting or describing people. Let's practice vocabulary for describing places and atmosphere. Beginners say nice, beautiful, or bad. But at C1, you could use majestic for something grand, picturesque for something charming like a photo, and gloomy for something dark and sad. Repeat after me. The mountains were majestic. The village was picturesque. The weather was gloomy all week. Excellent. Now imagine traveling in the Alps and seeing snow-covered peaks. Instead of saying, "The mountains are beautiful," you say, "The mountains are majestic." Repeat it. The mountains are majestic. Or imagine visiting a small village with old houses and flowers on the streets. The village was picturesque. Say it with me. The village was picturesque. Finally, imagine a rainy, cloudy week. You might say, "The weather was gloomy." Repeat after me. The weather was gloomy. This kind of vocabulary helps you describe the world with precision and style. Now let's expand your vocabulary for describing moods and atmosphere. At the basic level, learners often say happy or sad. But at C1, you can use words like cheerful, melancholy, or optimistic. Let's practice them in sentences. Repeat after me. She seemed cheerful after the exam. The music had a melancholy tone. I'm optimistic about the future. Excellent. Now imagine your friend just got good news and is smiling. Instead of saying, "She is happy," you could say, "She is cheerful today." Repeat that with me. She is cheerful today. Or imagine listening to a slow, sad song. Instead of saying, "The song is sad," you say, "The music has a melancholy tone." Practice it. The music has a melancholy tone. And if someone asks you about your plans, you might say, "I'm optimistic about my future career." Repeat it now. I'm optimistic about my future career. These words let you express shades of emotion more precisely. Another area of advanced vocabulary is talking about work and effort. Beginners often say hard work, but at the C1 level, you can say diligence, perseverance, and commitment. Let's practice. Her diligence earned her a promotion. Repeat after me. Her diligence earned her a promotion. Perseverance is the key to success. Say it with me. Perseverance is the key to success. He showed commitment to his goals. Repeat it now. He showed commitment to his goals. Imagine a student who studies every day carefully. You could say, "Her diligence impressed the teacher." Repeat it with me. Her diligence impressed the teacher. Or picture an athlete who keeps training even when it's difficult. You might say, "His perseverance brought him victory," or say it now. His perseverance brought him victory. And in a workplace, you might say, "She demonstrated commitment to the project." Practice it now. She demonstrated commitment to the project. These advanced words are useful in professional, academic, and personal conversations. Let's also focus on vocabulary for describing problems and difficulties. At a basic level, people say problem or difficulty. At C1, you can use words like obstacle, challenge, and complication. Repeat after me. They faced many obstacles on the journey. Learning English is a challenge, but it's rewarding. The plan had a serious complication. Excellent. Now imagine hiking in the mountains. Instead of saying, "We had some problems on the trip," you could say, "We faced many obstacles on the journey." Repeat after me. We faced many obstacles on the journey. Or picture studying English daily. Instead of saying, "It's difficult," you could say, "It's a challenge, but it's rewarding." Practice